What's going on, my Century Unit Galaxy? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another classic WrestleMania pay-per-view review. At the end of my review of WrestleMania 1, the next classic WrestleMania to review will be WrestleMania 7. It's memorable for Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan, the retire match between, Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior led up to the reunite between Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, The Undertaker versus Jimmy Snuka that kicked off the legendary streak. I said to myself, I was not bothering. I don't feel like reviewing WrestleMania 7 for now. Yeah, because this year marks the 30th anniversary of that show, because that show was in Los Angeles. Yeah, I was not bothering and interested. I said to myself, let's review a crap WrestleMania, because last year I reviewed WrestleMania 11. It's debatable for that WrestleMania to be the worst WrestleMania of all time. Yeah, I reviewed WrestleMania 15. That was also a shit show. I said to myself, which classic worst WrestleMania to review? The worst of the worst. And it pumps out of my head. The light bulb comes out of my head. Ding! I'm going to review, WrestleMania 9. Oh boy. This show was at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada on the 4th of April 1993. The attendance for the show was 16,891. The buy rate for the show was 430,000 pay-per-view buys. Upgrade then WrestleMania 8 pay-per-view buy rate, because that show received about 390,000 pay-per-view buys. The main event of that show was Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice. This is the first WrestleMania stage outdoors. I think until WrestleMania 19 in 2003. It was in Seattle. It was in a baseball stadium. This WrestleMania was shit for many reasons, and really they're going into that theme. This theme of WrestleMania is in ancient Rome. They dress up like gladiators, Julius Caesar, Cleopatra. I give WWF some props to going into that theme. I think the last time we see, WrestleMania going in that theme, we had, WrestleMania 21, it goes Hollywood, the red carpet. WrestleMania 33, I think they were close to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, with the theme parks and the roller coaster rides. I don't know about 32. Not 32. So I wish sometimes WrestleManias do some themes. Like one day they do WrestleMania in Las Vegas, Return to Las Vegas. I think it's the one and only time that WrestleMania is at Las Vegas, and never go back to Las Vegas ever since because of the disaster of WrestleMania 9. I wish they return to Las Vegas. Do like a casino theme, gambling theme with the dice. Hope they do it, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Anyway, so the commentators for the show are Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's funny part that Bobby Heenan arrived to the arena on a camel. That was funny. His reactions, I was laughing my ass off. Yeah, we got Jim Ross making his WWF pay-per-view bow because he debuted in, I think it was 1993. Yeah, this is his first pay-per-view appearance because he came from WCW. Stick around till 2018 before going to New Japan and right now in AEW. The Macho Man Randy Savage, because at this time period he was a commentator, and Bobby the Brain Heenan. And this was Heenan's last WrestleMania until WrestleMania 17 in 2001. Commentating the Gimmick Battle Royal, and that's same as Mean Gene Okerlund. He also, because Mean Gene and the Brain end up leaving the company in 1993. Before going to WCW, start the Monday Night War, the competition, another story for another time. Anyway, there's one match was originally scheduled for this show. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen due to time, rush. It was cancelled due to time. It was supposed to be a match between Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kamala. I'm glad they never see this match. Bam Bam Bigelow was an alright worker. Kamala, not so much. I'm glad they never. I think it was a dark match, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so the first match to kick off WrestleMania 9, we got Shawn Michaels defending the Intercontinental Championship with Luna Vachon in his corner, taking on Tatanka, who's undefeated at the time, with Sensational Sherry in Tatanka's corner. So originally it was supposed to be Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty, continue up their feud because they had the match at the Royal Rumble early of that year. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because Marty Jannetty got fired. I think it's due to like drug allegations and also influence of alcohol. Explain why. And by the way, he ended up coming back. I'll tell you at the end of this match. And also, Shawn and Sherry still feuding because during the feud with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, Marty trying to hit Shawn with the heart mirror. Shawn used Sherry as a shield, and Sherry got hit in the face with the mirror. That led up to a breakup between Shawn and Sherry because Sensational Sherry used to marry Shawn Michaels. This was his early years when he was the heel, starting out as a single star. And anyway, I think this was Sherry's one of his last pay-per-view appearances before going to WCW, managing Harlem Heat. Anyway, Luna for Shawn, I think this is her first pay-per-view appearance. I might be wrong, don't quote me. Anyway, the match between Shawn Michaels and Tatanka, this was a good match. Back and forth, Shawn does that typical sells, like someone Irish whipped Shawn. Shawn kind of like took that bump onto the top turnbuckle and fall out the floor. That was good. Sometimes a bit overselling. It's just what it is. Typical Shawn match. One more of the match, Shawn trying to do like a crossbody. Tatanka countered into an arm drag. There was a confrontation between Sherry and Luna. I thought it led up to like a brawl. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. This match was really good, back and forth. You thought that Tatanka is going to win the title. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen because the end of the match you had Shawn, going for like a move off the ring apron. Tatanka got out of the way. Shawn hit his head on the steel steps, and after he got up, he kind of pulled the referee out of the ring. Tatanka hit his finisher move. The referee basically, he's about going for the 3 count, but instead the referee kind of called for the bell for the disqualification. Yep, and Shawn, Tatanka won this match by disqualification. Unfortunately, he did not win the title. It's a shame for Tatanka because he had many runs in the WWE, never won the title. I don't think he won any title in WWE. He's not really world title material, maybe mid-card material. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I think the best time he should have really won the title on the show, give him like a mini run before dropping the title back to Shawn. Shawn won the IC title 3 times in his career. At the end of the match you had Luna attack Sherry, and then during the end of the middle of the next match, we'll get to it shortly. I'm trying to say, sorry, I'm stumbling. You had basically Luna attack Sherry. I don't think it led to a match between Luna for Shawn and Sensational Sherry. I'm glad they never did that, thank God, because they're not really good workers. Anyway, and by the way, Shawn ended up dropping the title to Marty Jannetty. This was next month on Raw in May. He dropped it. This was on the Raw. Marty defeats Shawn. I think Shawn won the title back from Marty Jannetty. I may be wrong, but yeah, it's a shame they never had more matches between Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels because Marty Jannetty always getting fired and rehired. And the reason why they keep rehiring Marty Jannetty, everyone knows that he's a good worker. It's a shame. Yeah, it has to do with charisma. He's a good in the ring, but lack of personality and charisma compared to Shawn Michaels, become a 4-time world champion and became one of the legendary guys in the business. Anyway, it was a good opener with a crap ending. The next match, we got a tag team match. We got the Head Shrinkers, formerly known as the Samoan SWAT team of the NWA. That is Fatu and Samu. Fatu's to feature Rikishi with Alpha in their corner. Alpha is, I'm guessing, Roman Reigns' dad or Sika. It's one member of the Wild Samoans. One of them is Roman Reigns' dad. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, they take on the Steiners. That is Rick and Scott Steiner. This is their one and only WrestleMania match. It's a shame they didn't have, because they left the company in 1994, and it's a damn shame they're not in the WWE's Hall of Fame. It has to do with Scott leaving the company on very bad terms in 2004 in his second run in the company in the 2000s. Anyway, I think they fought in WCW because, yeah, like I said, the Head Shrinkers, formerly known as the Samoan SWAT team. Anyway, the match between the Head Shrinkers and the Steiners, it was a good match. A bit back and forth, kind of boring sometimes with rest holds. The storytelling is this: the Head Shrinkers' heads are really unbeatable. They're indestructible, trying to say. Because every time, there's one time you had Rick hit Fatu and Samu with the Knocky Knockers. They did not sell, and then Alpha hit them with the Knocky Knockers. Same thing, So the heads is basically made out of stone, indestructible. Yeah, I say unbeatable heads. Maybe they are unbeatable heads. That's why they'll probably win their matches, because the heads are not really unbreakable. Anyway, in the end, Scott hit Samu with the Frankensteiner to win this match, and the Steiners got their one and only win at WrestleMania. Didn't wrestle at WrestleMania 10, and then left in 1994, going back to WCW. I think the Head Shrinkers and the Steiners went on to win the tag team titles in the WWF. I don't want to get into it. Another topic for another time. So yeah, the first two matches of WrestleMania, you had the opener, the IC title match between Shawn and Tatanka. It was a good match, yeah, with the disqualification, because at the time, yeah, I'm glad I saw it in 1993. It didn't bother me in 2021 right now in our current timeline. But back then in 1993, people spent a lot of money. They wanted to see a decisive winner. No one wants to see a match in any type of pay-per-view or any type of company with DQs and non-countouts. That's really end the match very disappointed. Yeah, the opener, it was a good match with a bad ending, and also the tag team title match was fun. After that, the show went absolute shit. So the next match, we got Crush taking on Doink the Clown. Doink the Clown is Matt Bourne. Yeah, people crap on Doink. Yeah, it has to do, because they made him as the typical McDonald's clown. But in 1993, he debuted in 1992, Doink. Matt Bourne's character, he made that character work, being this evil, psychotic clown. This is decades before the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. I give Matt Bourne some credit. He made that character work. I know the character was still cheesy, but he made that work as a heel clown because his gimmick, he was basically pulling pranks onto his fellow wrestlers and the fans, and Crush had enough of his shit. He's trying to be the hero of the fans, not putting up of Doink's shit. On an episode of Superstars, I think it was a go-home show before WrestleMania, you had Doink wearing a sling on his arm. Self-proclaimed he broke his arm. He gave Crush a peace offering that was a flower. He gave it to a fan. Doink basically hit Crush with a fake prosthetic arm to build up this match on the show. Anyway, the match between Crush and Doink, match sucked. I was bored. It was kind of like thrown into the match in the last minute. Crush was terrible. Yeah, he was feuding with Randy Savage. They gave him a singles run because they're trying to put him in that reboot version of Demolition. That was like 91, 92. But that failed because I think Axe left the company. I think it was 92 before Crush went on to become a single star. He didn't want a title in WWF. He's not that good. Yeah, no chemistry between Doink and Crush. I'm trying to keep this match short and simple. In the end, you got a referee bump, and then you got another Doink played by Steve Kern. I think Steve Kern will become another version of Doink. This is years after Matt Bourne got fired from the company. The fake Doink hit Crush with the fake prosthetic arm. The real Doink and the fake Doink did basically a mirror gag, and then the real Doink pins Crush for the victory. And I'm guessing this is Doink's one and only win at WrestleMania. And that was it. Yeah, not a big fan of this match. This is better off on a Raw, not on your biggest show of the year that people spend a lot of money. Yeah, Crush, they give him this push, facing Randy Savage at the next year's WrestleMania. Yeah, he didn't do much in the company. I don't think he's that great. As for Matt Bourne's Doink, I don't think I think they missed an opportunity. It's very shame that the next few years, later in 1993, they kind of ruined the Doink character, made him as a babyface. The reason why they made him a babyface because, you know, people have like a phobia of clowns. They made that character kid friendly, and that was the kiss of death. I'll tell you more if I review Survivor Series 1993. So yes, it's a good glance to see Doink getting as really a heart over heel, and then next few months turning babyface, and then they basically ruined the character. Another story, another time. Let's move on. Anyway, so that was match number 3. Match number 4, we got Razor Ramon making his WrestleMania debut against Bob Backlund, also making his WrestleMania debut. So, Razor debuted the previous year in 1992. Bob Backlund making his comeback. He made his return to the company early in 1993. Showed up at the Royal Rumble match. Bob Backlund was basically the biggest babyface in those late 70s and early 80s of the WWF, if you go very old school. He was the second longest WWF champion, because the longest reigning champion is Bruno Sammartino. He won the title in 78, dropped it in late 1983. This is before the Hulkamania era. He was kind of like a middleman. He was the biggest star after the Bruno Sammartino era, and this is before the Hulkamania era and the Rock and Roll action era of the mid to throughout the 80s and into the early 1990s of the WWF. Anyway, so the match was short. In the end, Razor rolled up Bob Backlund for the victory. Bob Backlund was this is before he became crazy. Bob Backlund become a WWF champion. He won the title at Survivor Series the following year before dropping the title to Diesel in a house show. This is way better than his match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 11, because that match was absolute shit. The I Quit match between Bob Backlund and Bret Hart with Roddy Piper as the special guest referee. That was shit. This match was a bit better, but that's not saying too much. So moving on to the next match. The next match, we got the WWF Tag Team Championship match. We got, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr. with Owen I. Shyster, or IRS for short, defending the tag team title belts against the Megamaniacs, that is Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. This is Beefcake's first pay-per-view match for almost 3 years, I think. Because in 1990, he kind of retired for pro wrestling because he suffered a facial injury. He was parasailing. He's still around in WWF television doing the barber seat segments. Then he made his first match back. His first match was against DiBiase. It was on Monday Night Raw that ended in DQ. You got Jimmy Hart, was the former manager of Money Inc., turn on DiBiase and Owen R. Shyster to team up with Hulk Hogan and Bruce the Barber Beefcake to set up the tag team title match on this show. And this is Hogan's first match for months, because the previous year in 1992, he took some time off because in this time period, because because we got steroids allegation period at this time. It was 93, 94 period of pro wrestling, because Hogan was, there was allegations that Hogan was using steroids. He took some time off, and this is 1 year before the steroid scandal, the trial between Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, another story another time. Pro wrestling in the mid-90s were mostly in the WWF, were in a lot of shit, because speculation for years that Vince is giving these wrestlers steroids. Don't want to get into it. And by the way, Shawn Michaels gets suspended later on in September of 1993 of I think it was some kind of a steroid rig. Anyway, so and also, Hogan in this show had a black eye. In storyline kayfabe, DiBiase kind of hired some goons to beat down Hogan. There's a reason why Hogan got the black eye. There's two reasons. The first theory, that Randy Savage punched Hogan in the eye because he cheated on Miss Elizabeth. That was a rumor, and that's the reason why Savage and Elizabeth got divorced in September of 1992, the previous year. And the second theory, that the reason why Hogan got an eye injury, because he got the black eye because of a jet ski incident. Anyway, the match between Money Inc. and the Megamaniacs sucked. Beefcake was wearing this type of mask, and every time like IRS or DiBiase trying to do some punches, Beefcake was not selling the mask. He ended up like removing the mask later on in this match, and also they're trying to go for win this match by basically getting a count out victory, not count out victory, but a count out defeat to retain the tag team titles. Unfortunately, the announcer says if they not leave, really get back in the ring for the count of 10, they not lose this match. They end up losing the tag team titles. They managed to get into the ring in the end. The match was another bullshit ending. There was a referee bump. Jimmy Hart did the 3 counts. He was wearing like a black and white jacket. Hogan and Beefcake won the tag team titles. Unfortunately, you got a bogus referee. That is Nightmare Danny Davis. Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, basically he really refers to the decision because there was a referee bump. Hogan was it Bruce Beefcake? Anyways, man, it's getting really fucking confusing. Yeah, Mega Maniacs, folks. Beefcake was, I don't know, I think he's kind of overrated because he was friends with Hulk Hogan. Anyway, R&R, Shyster, and DiBiase trying to cheap shop Hogan and Beefcake. They beat down the baddies, and that was it. And by the way, later on in the show, Hogan says he wants to face the winner of the main event. You have to wait and find out at the end. Fucking hell, the tag team title match was shit. It'd be on paper, it'd be okay have Hogan and basically Beefcake like leaving WrestleMania as the tag team champions. Sorry. Yeah, it's just like it's just bullshit for Hogan. I think this is gonna end in very bad notes. Anyway, moving on to the next match. Sorry, I'm kind of stumbling. It's just I think this WrestleMania kind of broke me mentally. If that could be the reason. Anyway, so the next match we got Mr. Perfect taking on the narcissist Lex Luger. This is Lex Luger's first WrestleMania appearance. He debuted at the Royal Rumble, and before that he debuted in 1992, be part of Vince McMahon's Bodybuilding Federation, but that's folded because he didn't compete in that bodybuilding competition because he got injured, and then the federation got folded, and he showed up. He really debuted as a wrestler again because he wrestled in WCW, a multiple-time world champion. Anyway, so he's doing the narcissist gimmick. It's a shame that it was so organic at the time. In my opinion, it was organic with that narcissist gimmick. I wish he ended his career as a narcissist instead of becoming a Hulk Hogan 2.0. I'll explain more at the end of this match. Perfect is a babyface after turning his back on Ric Flair and Bobby Heenan, spilling like a jug of water in the head of Bobby Heenan. This was at Survivor Series 1992. Perfect and Flair had the match on Monday Night Raw. Loser leaves town. Flair lost that match on Raw, went back to WCW. Won't see Flair again until 2001. The Raw after Survivor Series. Never story, never time. Anyway, the match between Perfect and Luger, it was an okay match. Just a standard match, nothing special. In the end, Luger basically pinned, I think it was a crucifix pin onto Perfect. Referee fucked up the 3 count because Perfect's leg was on the ropes. Luger won this match. I think this is his one and only his second WrestleMania win because 2 years later at WrestleMania 11 in 1995, he won in a tag team match. It was him and Bulldog taking on the Blues Brothers. So, this was his first singles match win at WrestleMania because the following year at WrestleMania 10, he ended up losing to Yokozuna for the world title when he was the good old USA Lex Luger. Anyway, afterwards, there was a beatdown brawl between Perfect and Luger because Perfect got pissed off. It led up to Shawn Michaels beating down Mr. Perfect. It's sort of a mini feud. I don't think they had a match at SummerSlam. And by the time the feud ended, because Shawn Michaels got suspended for basically using steroids, because this is pro wrestling in the early 90s, doing a lot of shit because of the allegation of steroids or many sex scandals and steroid scandals or any type of scandals you think of. It's just what it is. So yeah, the narcissist gimmick, it's a shame. It was a good gimmick. It was getting over organically, and afterwards, they ditched the gimmick. This is the 1 or 2 pay-per-views as Lex Luger wrestled as the narcissist. This match against Perfect at WrestleMania, the match against Tatanka at the first King of the Ring pay-per-view, the fought in the King of the Ring tournament of that same year, and then afterwards, they made him as the good old USA Lex Luger, body slam Yokozuna at the USA Tripid, touring around the country, facing Yokozuna at SummerSlam. I'll review SummerSlam 93 in the near future, but maybe this summer, who knows, fingers crossed. So, anyway, the next match, oh boy, we got The Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez. Anyway, nothing much about this feud because Giant Gonzalez is formerly known as Ali Gante in WCW. You got Harvey Whipperman is in Giant Gonzalez's corner because Whipperman was feuding with The Undertaker the previous year. He had Kamala try to beat down and destroy The Undertaker in 1992. He failed, so Giant Gonzalez, oh boy. He's wearing like a body skin outfit. That was his gimmick in 1993. He never around in 1993. I think he left later on in 1993, and sadly he died a decade later in 2010. Rest in peace. Anyway, this is the worst match of the streak. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Worst match of the streak. Every time Undertaker hits some punches, Gonzalez did not sell the fucking old school. It was boring. It was shit. In the end, Gonzalez choked down The Undertaker with color film, with a rag. He got a rag full of color film, put it on The Undertaker's face, smothered The Undertaker, and the match was a disqualification. This is the third disqualification on this show. The opener ended in a DQ, the tag team title match ended in a DQ, and now this match between Taker and Gonzalez ended, guess what? DQ. Anyway, so you got the referees basically leave Undertaker, put him on the stretcher, lead him out of the arena. He came back seconds later, beamed down Giant Gonzalez, and did the pose, with Paul Bearer holding the urn, and that was it. And by the way, they had the blow off at SummerSlam, the Rest in Peace match. I don't know about that match. You have to wait and find out if I review SummerSlam 1993. That'll be later on in August when I get to reviewing SummerSlam shows. Anyway, so yeah, this is the worst match of the streak. Anyway, 1990s Undertaker streaks matches at WrestleMania, they are bad. The only two matches that are good has to be, Diesel at WrestleMania 12, Kane at WrestleMania 14. Besides that, Giant Gonzalez, WrestleMania 9, King Kong Buddy, WrestleMania 11, Psycho Sid, WrestleMania 13, Big Boss Man, WrestleMania 15. It's really sad that compared to his matches in the 90s, compared to his streak matches of the 2000s, it's not today. Because in the streak matches of the 2000s, Undertaker was put on great matches with Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Edge. I'm talking about Undertaker's streak matches of the 2000s compared to his matches of the streak of the 90s. They were terrible. Main event time. We got Bret Hart defending the WWF Championship against Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji in his corner. Yokozuna won the Royal Rumble match at the Royal Rumble in January of that year to get a shot at the World Championship at WrestleMania. I reviewed Royal Rumble 93 early this year. Go and check it out. I said they should have done Bret vs. Savage. I think that was a wasted opportunity of a potential dream WrestleMania match because they never fought in pro wrestling. Bret Hart and Randy Savage in both in WWF and WCW. Has to do with timing. Anyway, the match between Bret vs. Yoko, not a good match. I'm sorry. Hate to speak ill of the dead. Yokozuna cannot work. He did okay in this match, so yeah, I'm a little bit contradicting, but he did like a body slam, followed with a leg drop onto Bret, but besides that, he's not that good as a wrestler, He's just definitely size. I think, he debuted in 1992, 1992, 93, 94. He was about the weight range of Yokozuna's between 300 or 400 plus pounds. When he teamed up with Owen Hart in 1995, 1996, he was about 700 pounds, 800, not 800 pounds, but between 5 to 600 pounds. Jesus, that dude has a weight problem. Anyway, I'm not speaking ill of the dead, but he's just definitely size. The fans were chanting USA Why did they change the USA? For once, yeah, Yokozuna, he's from Japan, but in reality, he's Samoan. He's from California. I don't know what city in California. He's from California, Yokozuna. Ronnie Anoa'i, he's The Rock's cousin. And Brett's from Canada. Why are they trying USA? I don't know. I don't want to get into it. So, in the end, Brett locked in the sharpshooter onto Yokozuna. Mr. Fuji, Yokozuna's manager, I think it was white powder or salt in the face of Bret Hart. Yokozuna, I think he hit his finisher onto Bret Hart to win this match and become the new World Wrestling Federation champion. And then all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan. And earlier of the show, Hulk Hogan, after his tag team title match ended in a disqualification, he said he wants to face the winner of this main event. Yeah, John Cena will blush, because people thought about John Cena holding back and playing politics. Hulk Hogan's been doing it. Same as Fabulous Moolah, Triple H. Don't want to get into it. So Hogan came along, and also Yokozuna accepted his challenge. Basically, Mr. Fuji, grabbed the mic, says Yokozuna accepted his challenge. The match started. It was a quick match between Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. It's like Yokozuna versus Hulk Hogan, sorry. Man, like I said, this WrestleMania is really burning my brain cells. Anyway, so, yeah, the match between Yoko and Hogan, quick match. It was a cheap shot of Yokozuna. Mr. Fuji, trying to hit throw white powder in the face of Hogan. Hogan ducks, accidentally hits Yokozuna instead. Hogan hit the leg drop onto Yoko, won this match, and become the new World Wrestling Federation champion. Holy shit. Hogan plays some politics. And the reason why, there's many stories, the reason why Hogan did that, because the plan to do a match between Bret Hart versus Hulk Hogan, probably at WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Unfortunately, Hogan declined the whole idea. He doesn't want to pull over Bret, passing the torch because of his size. And also said, I think Hogan says, he wants to pull over the top heel, that is Yokozuna. So they had the rematch at King of the Ring. Yoko won the title from Hogan at King of the Ring after the cameraman shoot a fireball in the face of Hulk Hogan. Yoko hold the title until WrestleMania 10. They did the rematch between Bret and Yoko at the following year's WrestleMania. Bret won the title. I think he won 4 more titles before leaving the company in 1997. Yeah, and also the reason why he's got the title, another reason. And also they're trying to do a European tour. Unfortunately, Hogan did not show up at the European tour, and I think they don't really need Hogan at that European tour because it was packed, it was crowded. Anyway, so it's a shame they never fought in WWF and WCW because Hogan plays in politics. And Bret hates Hogan to this day. Anyway, so yeah, WrestleMania 9. Between 9 and 11, which one's the worst? I have to go with 9. 11 was still shit with Taker Bundy. The tag team title match was okay. Yeah, some okay matches. You had Bret versus Backlund and fucking was it Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett for the IC title. That was the end of the DQ. Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow, that was okay, but crappy, mediocre celebrities. The only good match has to be, Diesel versus Shawn for the WWF Championship. Besides that, still a shit WrestleMania, but this is crap. You had a lot of crappy matches ending in disqualification. Including Doink versus Crush, Taker versus Gonzalez. The 2 WWF title matches between Bret versus Yoko versus Hogan. Hogan is playing his politic card on this show. And yeah, it really was very shit, man. So, if you watch this on the network, skip it all the time. This is gotta be the worst WrestleMania of all time. Good buy rate, but the card was fucking crap. The only thing in the good has to be, the 2 matches in the good has to be, Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka for the IC title. That was, it still ended the disqualification, but still a good match. And the tag team match between the Steiners versus the Headshrinkers. Razor Ramon and Bob Backlund was okay, it was a short match. And Perfect and Lex Luger also wrestled a fine, okay match. Besides that, the match should have stayed in the bad. Yeah, this is a fucking F. So, yeah, the final rating for that show, I'm gonna give it 1 out of 10. I'll give it a 0. A big fat 0, so. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed my review of WrestleMania 9. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Next time, let's go into the opposite way. After I review one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, let's review one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Let's travel into the 2000s, the start of the 2000s. Let's review WrestleMania 17. Oh boy. Rock versus Austin 2, TLC 2, Undertaker Triple H, the triple threat match between Raven, Big Show, Kane, and so on and so forth. Can't wait. That show was in Texas, by the way. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later. And that's my review of WrestleMania 9. 2 thumbs down of a pay-per-view.